I admit that I have a certain advantage when it comes to assessing Erika's actions and motives. I've spoken to her multiple times since Charlie died. You know, you don't need to know her or speak to her to understand that the accusations and insinuations against her are utterly without merit. You don't need to know her or speak to her to understand that there is no legitimate reason, no evidence to justify treating her with anything but compassion and sympathy. You don't need to know her or speak to her to understand the biblical mandate to be kind to widows. But if you did speak to her, you would see, as I have clear as day, that this woman is completely devastated, broken into 1,000 pieces by this tragedy. She is shattered. She is crushed. And now, already grief-stricken and gutted, she must deal with public scorn, mockery, and defamation unlike anything I've ever seen in my life, much less experienced myself. If you're worried that she isn't sad enough, fear not. I can report she's sad. She is very, very sad. And if for some unknown reason it makes you feel better to know that, well, now you do. The other thing you notice about Erika, if you talk to her in real life, is that she is a real person dealing with a real thing. Everybody else on the internet has the benefit of treating this whole thing like some kind of game, a piece of content that you watch and then scroll past. You engage with the story in bits and pieces when you want to here and there, and then you don't. I'm talking about it right now as an episode of my podcast. Candace has done many episodes about it. Erika lives with it every second of every day. This is her life. It's not a game for her. It's not content. It's her life. Now, I've talked about how deeply Charlie's death affected me, and it did. I was changed by it, and not for the better, I'm sorry to say. I'm an angrier person now. I admit that. But I also recognize that even in the immediate aftermath of his death, I could still put my phone down and turn off the TV and try to take my mind off the tragedy and go spend time with my family, with my wife who is alive and my children who are happy and safe with two parents who love them. I have that luxury. So does Candace. Erika does not. When I was trying to take my mind off of things, do you know what Erika was doing? She was explaining to her young children that their daddy will never be coming home. Wow. Do you know what that's like?
No.
Have you ever had to have a conversation like that? I haven't. I pray I never do. And every night since that day, while I am happily at home with my family and Candace is with hers, Erika is home with two children who are suffering a trauma that they're far too young to process, while she carries a grief that most of us can't comprehend. And all the while, she is gleefully ripped to pieces by hordes of people who cannot muster even the faintest shred of sympathy for her. Will anything I'm saying right now change that?
I have children, 6 children. And from when my children were toddlers, if I was having a bad day or was upset, it's mommy, what's wrong? It's, are you okay, mommy? You look sad. Mommy, are you upset? What's wrong? And my kids to this day do this. Yesterday, I've been overwhelmed with a lot of things, campaign trail. And my kids will come to me and say, are you okay, mom? Do you just need a hug? Because children can sense when something is wrong with mom in a loving home. And she was building that with her husband until he was stolen. And someone with the likes and the power of Candace Owens is coming and deliberately trying to destroy what sanity she has left to keep it together for herself, a company that I don't think that she was even prepared to take on because it grew exponentially and was still growing before her husband was murdered. And Candace is doing the same thing that political people say is inciting violence. She is inciting violence with her lies and her conspiracies that are pointed to one woman who I believe that she is 100% wickedly, violently jealous of. It shows. Candace, it shows. You despise this woman for every reason except anything that is godly. And if you were a woman of God, like you so claim to be, then you would walk away from this. Then you would be praying for Candace. Then you would be forgiving and operating in this because she still has children to raise. I don't know how we stop this, but thank you, Matt Walsh. I want to say thank you on behalf of moms like us, conservatives like us, families, for those who have been watching this. Thank you for saying the sane thing that needed to be said and for breaking it down in such a way that everyone, including Candace Owens followers, should be paying attention to and saying, you're right. We've gone too far.
Yeah.
And at this point, they seem to be okay going further. And it's not okay. Again, it was very hard. It's hard to watch. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad we played it. I'm glad our audience is here. Our viewers understand. We've followed that, but enough's enough. And I'm going to continue to pray for her. I continue to pray for everybody, for both, and the children involved in this. It always, for me, it has a lot to do with the kids that are going to be affected and not just the widows, which we are commanded by God's word to take care of.
I also want to add this little tidbit. Erika is, as you're going to see, exceedingly uncomfortable discussing Charlie's final day. Fox News had to use a lot of cuts, a lot of, you can, now that I'm telling you that and you watch, you're going to go, oh yeah, they're cutting and kind of like putting her answer in a different place, very obviously and poorly edited out entire portions when Jesse asks her a fairly simple question. Tell me about the day before the shooting. That would be Charlie's last full day on Earth.
Let me just say this before we get Matt's response. This enraged me when she said that. Folks, my mother died pretty young. She was in her 50s. I cannot even talk about her. Still, this was 2015. I cannot even talk about her without crying. When I go to family events and her sisters want to talk about memories in old times, I cannot stay. I can't do it yet. I well up. I weep. Who is this cockroach? Candace Owens is a cockroach to tell someone who has lost a loved one how they are to mourn them. That was probably the most disgusting thing I have ever heard.
No, I agree. It's disgusting. It's vile. And again, we've talked about this on the show that it makes me question whether Candace is actually or has actually ever grieved for her supposed best friend. Because if that were the case and Charlie Kirk was her best friend and she cares about him more than anyone, then she shouldn't be able to talk about the day before he was assassinated. She shouldn't be able to talk about it without getting choked up and being in tears. I can't imagine having the wife and say, I need you to behave and respond a certain way. This hasn't even been a year, ladies and gentlemen. She was doing these clips and making these videos within a month, a week, 2 weeks later. She has no care. It is vicious, vindictive, vile. And again, it's egregious to go after the day before. Tell me about the last days, because what does that do? It invokes the last time you saw him, the last time you smiled, the last time you thought everything was okay. Tell me about the last time you thought everything was okay, and then everything was destroyed within 24 hours. What? How do you respond to that? My mind would check out too.
It's no word. There are no words to this woman's how low she will go. She is so low. And it's all motivated by money. She's getting millions and millions of views pushing this nonsense. What do you call it? Bullying a widow. And people just eating it up. But not Matt Walsh. Take a look what he said here.
Is uncomfortable describing the last day that her husband was alive on this planet. I think I would be too in her shoes. And this is another common theme. Things that are perfectly understandable and normal are recast as ominous and bizarre. For example, Erika has frequently been criticized for not announcing the exact location of her husband's burial site. And the implication, again, is that she's hiding some dark secret. But the much more reasonable and plausible and totally understandable explanation is that she doesn't want leftists showing up and defacing her husband's grave, which we all know they would do. And she doesn't want random deranged people showing up and trying to exhume his body so that they can conduct their own unofficial forensic analysis, which would also probably happen. So again, we have no evidence of any crime at all, least of all the crime of conspiring to kill her husband.
Many of you have said in the chat, everyone grieves differently. You know, everyone deals with loss differently. I know when my mom died, you know, she's passed on now for quite some many years. And, you know, people used to say, why don't you post about her on your social media? I can't. It hurts too much. It still hurts. Now, someone might look at that and say, oh, well, she posts about everything else. Why doesn't she post about her mom? Because it hurts. I am still grieving. People grieve in different ways. It just is. And why don't we give this woman some grace? It's about allowing her to grieve. And why are we jumping to pointing her as the person behind this when all other evidence points otherwise? It makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense, and I've dealt with people like Candace Owens before, she's miserable. Candace Owens is not a happy person. She's miserable. And people like her, they thrive off of making other people as miserable, or at least trying to make other people as miserable as them. She's not happy at home. She's not happy with her career. She's led by jealousy and envy. Okay. And so this is why she is doing what she's doing. Folks, we have to pray for Erika Kirk. Pray for her family, pray for her loved ones, and just ask God to form a hedge of protection around her, because that's really the only thing that's going to help in this situation. Prayer. And may God's justice be swift on Candace Owens. Okay? Because one thing I do know, you don't mess with Holy Spirit-filled people. You don't mess with God's people. Okay? I do know that. I've seen that. He has a way of handling it.
That's right.
So that does it for us. Thank you all so much for watching. This is our final episode in February. We appreciate you guys hanging in with us. A long night tonight, but we certainly appreciate it. We will be back on Sunday night at 9 p.m. right here. So again, we'll be back on Sunday. Poppin' Politics will be back on tomorrow. We got a special night for you guys. We're going to play bingo. We got a special bingo for you all. It's going to be really fun. Of course, bringing you all the latest in hot topics and news and politics from a conservative perspective. And then, of course, you can catch Just the Guys on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. This is Christian Conservative. I'm KJ with Michelle Talkington.